Hey, I am so excited you're here. I can't believe that it has been over 2 years since I've started this podcast. And one of the things that I want to mention that is because I tell myself that I'm not consistent or that I can't be consistent. And I share more about that in this podcast episode. But someone who's consistent or who's not consistent doesn't have a podcast for 2 years plus. And so when you're looking at your habits, when you're looking at who you are, you get to look at the evidence around you versus what your brain is telling you. Before we dive in, I mentioned a resource that I created for you, but then I did not tell you actually how to find it. So on my website, there's a box that says 5 secrets. It's the 5 secrets to discovering you. This is a quick PDF, but I go through a process that I use that will help you start to get on this journey of who am I now and discovering who you are and what you're called to do. So go and get it. I cannot wait for you to get it and let me know what you think. All right, with that, let's dive into this thing.
Hi friend, I am so excited that you're here to check out Her Restored Spirit podcast. If you've gone through something that has left you broken-spirited, maybe it's a divorce, loss of a spouse, or even a child, loss of a job, whatever it is, I know there is restoration in your future. I'm a widowed mom, and I remember what it feels like to emerge from the fog to discover that my loss is not the center of my story, but it actually instilled in me a new hope, a new understanding of faith, and a new strengthening in my heart, soul, and motherhood. I have finally understood that God has taken my test and formed it into my testimony, and that's why I'm here with you. I want you to step into your purpose, into a newfound joy, and to turn a new page in your book, because I believe you are on the brink of full restoration, unlocking a confidence that you didn't know was inside you, and understanding how to live more fruitfully with purpose, joy, and permission to be washed in possibility. It's time, friend, to reclaim your restored spirit.
Hey, welcome back to Her Restored Spirit podcast. My name is Tammy. I'm the host. And today I'm going to talk a little bit more about, last week we talked about the fact that your why alone is not going to help you break bad habits. And I had some, I have some really good friends who are in the inspirational and health coaching spaces and the, other life coaches. Just like, if you're in soccer, a soccer mom, you know a lot of soccer moms. I happen to know a lot of coaches. And I know a lot of people who were asking me, so tell me more about this. Why? Why is it? I see what you're saying. And one of the things, it's not that your why is not good, because I already told you, your why is amazing. Your why is so important. And every why is different, even if it sounds the same, because we don't know the experiences. We don't know what got you there, how God led you there. We also don't know where it's heading to, because it's amazing how so many people can have a similar focus, but it'd be very different journeys. And so we're talking about bad habits. And what about what will happen? How is it possible to start rewriting some of these bad habits? And let me give you another little tidbit so the why is not strong enough alone. Because part of it is you have to understand why the habit is there in the first place. What is happening? What are you gaining by keeping that bad habit? And your brain would not do it if it's not gaining something. My brain is it is throwing a little hissy fit right now about some of the things that I'm doing, because I've never done it before. Some of my habits are like we talked about, numbing out, going and working on the same thing that I've worked on over and over and over again, different things. Understanding what our brain is getting by having that bad habit, that craving, that the procrastination. For me, it's a lot of, well, if I learn a little bit more, then I'll be ready. Then I will know what I'm talking about. And it's like, no, I know what I'm talking about. I've had years of education. I have had years of studying the Bible. I have had years of talking with people, and I know what I'm talking about. I know what I do. And in actuality, being able to say, no, I'm really good at what I do was really hard for me because my habit was, well, the procrastination. Well, are you consistent? Well, I've had this podcast for over 2 years and I've never missed a week. There's one time it didn't come out on a Monday, and that's because it was a fluke issue. And actually, I think it was really good for me to see that it doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to come out every on the right time in order to be done and in order to really count the cost of it. Like, does it matter? It's a fact that I have done it every week for the last 2 years, over 2 years. And how awesome is that? So I completely discredited the fact that that was a consistent habit. That is a non negotiable that I gave myself. But what my brain tells me is, you're not good enough to do this. What do you have to say? Why don't you just kind of learn some more and procrastinate? Why don't you wait a little bit longer to do this? And so that habit, that mindset, that belief, and what do we talk about? A belief is a thought paired with an emotion over time. So that I procrastinate, I start and I stop. And how many of you, how many, like I can't see you and I'm talking to you. How many times have you started something knowing like, this is it, this is what we're going to do, and then stopped because it didn't go right, or it was not, or because it was successful, and all of a sudden your brain is like, Mayday, I don't know what to do with this. These habits that we have are all doing something for us, even the bad ones. So when you're trying to break a bad habit, you're trying to break it. And a little hint too is you can't just break it, you have to replace it. You have to do it. And it doesn't take 21 days. That's the other thing we talked about, is that willpower lasts 2 weeks. Motivation doesn't come until after you act and you start doing it. But in order to truly eliminate a bad habit, it takes 67 days approximately of repetition, 67 days of repetition. So if it's something you do weekly, it may take you 6 to 7 weeks. I don't know the science about that, but like it makes sense. The less you do it, the longer you have to do it. But I do know that a habit can be rewritten. And really what we want to do is we want to rewrite our identity. Who are we in this new habit that we want? I am really excited about this Facebook group. Now, that's something I'm going to be completely honest with you. I have started it and stopped it. And it's because it hasn't felt right. It's because I haven't felt authentic, trying to find my voice. Also, those little ants of like, who are you to host this? And then I need to see what it looks like. When God has really placed on my heart that, Tammy, all you have to do is create a community, create a place that women want to go, that's inspirational, that's like positive, that we can talk about the negative things, because life is hard. Life is challenging. Trials. God says you're going to have trials in this earth. So why don't we do them together? But I have been feeling really like I've been letting you down. Because I started and stopped. And even this like 3-day challenge thing, it's like, because I didn't even actually understand, I have some amazing coaches. And one of the things they do is do it messy. But for me, my doing it messy is still, I need to have like, where am I going? What am I doing? How am I serving you? So this habit of like, okay, like, who am I to break this habit of starting and stopping? Who am I to want this healthier lifestyle? Who am I to be able to take my skills that I have and like put yourself in these like, who am I for a moment? Because it's not about me. I remind myself all the time, I don't do this podcast to talk about myself. What I want to share and what I feel like God has placed on my heart is I can say it in a way because I've been through it. I've done it. I have gone through some really hard things. And I look at my kids and they're thriving mainly because of prayer. Like, and they also are survivors, although they definitely have that victim, like, woe is me when it comes to doing schoolwork. But it's the identity piece that we miss. That who am I to have a relationship that's amazing? Who am I to be healthy? Who am I to be, and I don't want to say thin because thin does not equal healthy. It does not. And heavy does not equate to like weak. Because I know some women who are some powerful women who are incredibly healthy that are a little bit bigger than what you would expect. But their habits, their who they are is so strong. So though our why isn't strong enough to break bad habits, understanding who we are and who we're not is another big step to changing that. So stay with me here. Some of the questions is, so let's go with this. Let's go with this healthy eating. Who am I if I have a healthy lifestyle? Because we know it's not just about food. Like, you can eat your way, you can eat, but if your lifestyle doesn't match it, if you don't have that balance of healthy activity, healthy mindset, because if your thoughts are so negative, your body's going to react to that. So when we look at a habit that we want, as well as a habit we want to break, maybe we don't want that third cup of coffee. I'll say tea because I drink tea. So maybe the third cup of tea before 10 a.m. We have to look not just at the habit of what it is. Okay, it is what it is. It's I drink 3 cups of tea before 10 a.m. Okay, I see that. That's the situation. It's neutral. 3 cups of tea is not good or bad. I didn't say what kind of tea. It could be ginger tea or herbal tea, or it could just be a honey lemon tea, or it could be what it is, Earl Grey with a little cream and honey. But if I want to have a healthier lifestyle and I don't want to have as much sugar, I don't want to have as much caffeine, I want to limit that a little bit. So then now I start looking at, okay, who am I when I don't have as much caffeine? Who am I? Because I've done these before. So I can go back and see those times that I cut out caffeine. And I'm like, well, I have more energy, which seems counterintuitive, but it's true. Now, who am I? Is like, well, I get to choose what I drink instead of just grabbing it because my body craves it. What if every time I crave a tea, I drink some water first? Who am I if I did that? What is it, who am I physically? Well, if I cut down the tea, the Earl Grey with cream and honey, then that having less dairy and less sugar, as well as less caffeine, my body will be healthier. So I'm going to feel healthier. My waistline will go smaller. So I'll have a smaller waistline. Who am I emotionally? Well, what does this tea give me? Well, it brings me comfort. It brings me joy. Not going to lie. I love the taste of this tea. But I love feeling healthier more. So then I say, okay, I want to feel a joy. So then I get to decide, okay, well, what do I drink instead? Well, how about I drink some hot water with lemon? Because I like the sensation of the hot drink. It's cold right now. So by thinking through this and say, okay, well, I can really get joy by drinking this hot lemon water as well. And it's all about the choices that you make that tie into what you want, that emotion. Like, I want to feel joy about it. And so what do I need to think about this hot glass of lemon water? is I can think that I'm fueling my body instead of just pacifying it. I can think about the fact that I just made a choice that goes in the win category that I can be proud about at the end of the day when I write my wins, or I could write it immediately. So hopefully you can follow this whole idea of habits. There's so much more than just something that you do. So to go back to this Facebook group, which, okay, here's another shameless plug, to join it, because I promise you it is coming, and it's going to be a place where you can get little action steps where you can come and say, that was hard, but how can I think different? How can I change this experience? How can I break this habit that I want to break? How can I talk with other women who are being brave and wanting to make these small incremental changes as well? How do I be this new version, this best version of myself, when I still feel like I am surviving in this old version that doesn't align? And by old and new version, I don't mean like I mean like there's something different inside that you're not being your best self. You know that there's things, there's habits, there's thoughts that you have that aren't serving you. And that is what we want to, because I do believe that you are amazing just how you are. I believe that you have everything inside of you, and like God has a calling and a purpose for you. So I truly believe that it's inside you already. And one of the best things about having a coach or being in a coaching community is that you can see you're not alone, and you can see how simple shifts, how some of those thoughts that are habits, the subconscious stories that you're playing are really what to change. And it's not you. It's not even your fault. But let's go back to the Facebook group of who do I want to be in there? And that's what one of my friends asked me, is like, Tammy, are you being yourself? Are you like the imperfect, show up when you can, but show up because you want to serve, and just it's not about me but about them. She goes, you're making it about you instead of about them, about the women who you're serving. And that hit me, because I'm not doing this for me. Like I'm not into it for the spotlight. But when I see lives changing, and women stepping into who they are called to be in Christ, that next purpose and calling, that now, like, they can use the skills in a different way, and something opens up in their hearts where it's like, okay, now I have a little bit more time, more resources, more freedom to use my time, treasures, and talents for a different reason, in a different way, in the next way. Not that the first way is bad, because I do not like, there's nothing bad about the calling that I've had over the last 43 years. I mean, it's not been perfect. I've been through a lot, but I poured my heart and my life, my time, my talents, and my time, talents, treasures into my kids. I've done that, and into my family, and building a life for them, and showing them that circumstances don't get to dictate who they're going to be. But now that they're teenagers, which now I have two teenagers, I have like two teenagers now, they don't need me the same way. So now I get to spend a little more time on, okay, Lord, these habits that I've had for so long, show me the ones that I need to rewrite. Show me the ones I need to step out of and create new ones for. Who do I need to be now to show up for my next purpose and calling? And that is what all of this is about. This is part of your why as well. But have you sat down and asked God to say, okay, who do I need to be now in this next season, in this next calling, in this next purpose, in this next phase, whatever term you want to use? Because it's temporary. We're constantly growing and shifting. And if you've been following my podcasts from the beginning, I kind of started with that grief, widow, divorced woman, and I have shifted. I have gained more clarity. And as I've changed, as I've grown, I've realized that working with women who are in the later phases of their life, who are ready to use their talents and their time and their treasures in a different and unique way, is really what I'm called to do. Using those elements, we all have grief. We all have something that we're grieving, whether it's our old self, whether it's a loss of a person, whether it's a loss of a dream, whether it's loss of something. But the thing is that when there's loss, God is so gracious to give you something to find. You have to be willing to look for it, to seek it, to ask Him what it is. And that's over time, I've shifted into this new, and I'm telling you, when I love it. And with that, I'm getting to do a new podcast intro, and I'm getting to recreate my website and do all the things that take time. And so it'll slowly update, but I have a new PDF, a new gift for you, that it's a 5 secrets to discovering you for women over 40. Now, if you're not 40 yet, I promise you, you will get something out of it as well. But the thing is, something shifts when you are in this, when your kids are teenagers, when things, all of a sudden, things shift for you. And I'm diving into what's the biological reason for that? Because it happens to too many women for it not to be biological. And we get to explore that, and we get to explore it together. If there's a habit that you want to break, sit down and ask yourself, what am I truly getting from it? Am I allowing myself to numb out? Is that my excuse so I don't have to do that uncomfortable thing, or I don't have to get out of my comfort zone? Is that something that's been working this whole time, but it doesn't now? It was a good habit, but now it doesn't align with where I need to go with my family, or what I need to do, or how my time is being used. I love working out in the morning. Working out in the morning does not work for me anymore. I do not like working out in the evening. Like, I am done with that. And it's busy. It's sports and driving. However, I get to assess that and be like, okay, now there's a Pilates gym right next to, like, 7 minutes away from where I drop my son off with tennis. So with that, I get to drop him off for 2 hours. And in that, I get to go work out for an hour and then get back in time to pick him up. I mean, that is a win. Instead of taking 2 hours in the morning to drive all the way to the gym and then work out and then all the way back. This is, things like that we shift. That habit of working out in the morning was not bad, but it doesn't work in this season. How do I change that? It's by changing my mindset and realizing that, okay, Tammy, you really can work out in the evening. It's not going to kill you. In fact, it's going to feel really good. And you want to be excited about it because you're using your time better. Also, using the time better is also like, who am I as well? That means in the mornings, I get to spend more time homeschooling, working on my business, working with you as my clients. I get to spend more time in the Facebook group and really get to know you in there and see how I can serve you and help you see how you're amazing already. But it goes back to, what did that habit mean for you? What did it give you? What is it costing you now? Well, to go back to the working out in the morning, it cost me 2 hours of my morning when the kids are sleeping, when I could have 2 hours completely focused on what I needed to focus on, whether it was laundry, whether it was work, whether it was spending time with God, doesn't matter. I have 2 hours now that I have. And so that's what it was costing me, and getting in and out of that 2 hours, and then trying to get back into focus. And then it's like, okay, who am I and who do I want to be? Well, I want to be consistent. I want to be dedicated. I want to be committed. to my health. Okay, well, this is also getting this results that I want. So now I get to praise myself for going in the evening and finding time that actually is a pocket of time that's hard to use anyway, because I can't come all the way home. It's 35 minutes away from my house. So that doesn't make sense. But if it's 7 minutes from a Pilates gym, that makes sense. So who do I get to be? Well, I get to be the mom who drops off her teenager. So he's got a phone, he can contact me, go to the gym, and then go back and pick him up and then go about our day. That's who I get to be. That health. Who do you get to be by making wise choices? And what does it mean to make wise choices? 80-20 is good enough. We're not looking for perfection. And a lot of times when we are looking at habits, we want perfection. Make it easy for yourself. Don't go for perfection. Go for progress. Go for that. Who am I? Well, I get to choose healthy. I make healthy choices 80% of the time. And then when I make a poor choice, like my daughter made some cheesecake, like a marshmallow cheesecake. So instead of like the regular crust from cheesecake, it's a Rice Krispie treat, homemade Rice Krispie treat. And then in the cheesecake itself has marshmallow fluff. It was delicious. Did that fit in my diet, in my healthy lifestyle? No. However, I got to enjoy that. And I got to celebrate her win because she made this thing that was amazing. And I got to see her excited that everyone liked it. And then I'm like, okay, now I get to go back to my healthy choices because it was my decision. That habit of, ooh, sweets, I need to eat them. Or I'm craving sweets. No, I chose to eat it because I'm someone who's healthy, who also gets to enjoy life. So who are you being? What is that habit costing you? What do you want the new habit to be? Journal about that. If you have any questions, reach out to me. Let's talk about it because this is the key. This is the key to creating new habits, to breaking the habit that you want to break. It's not beating yourself up. It's not just trying and pushing through willpower. It's understanding all the what behind it. What is it offering you? What is it costing you? What will it give you? Who will you be when you have this new habit? Easy as that. Okay, so I've talked about my Facebook group, Her Restored Spirit. I'm keeping the name of that because it's going to still be the name of my podcast because let's face it, we're all working towards restoring our spirit. We get through and we allow life to kind of knock us down. We allow life to happen to where we just kind of get in this funk or this mundane or this routine where it just happens around us and we are managing it versus experiencing it. So the podcast title is going to stay Her Restored Spirit. The focus is, I've already kind of shifted the focus over the last year. So it's going to be the same. I am picking new music, although I love my friend Rachel and I will still share this, the music that she's so graciously given me to use. I'll still share that. But new, like a little more upbeat and hey, like we can do this together. And then the Facebook group, which give me a little grace as I'm figuring this out because I want it to be good. The meaning that I put behind it is that it's a place that's edifying and it's a place that has women who are ready to uplift each other and grow and be brave and say yes to themselves. And if you don't know what it means to say yes to yourself, let's talk. I am opening up 2 one-on-one spots. And then I have another group that's starting to form. And so there's a lot of opportunities to work with me. But if you're not ready for that yet, and you just want to start on this journey, get into the Facebook group and let's start this together. With that, choose joy, friend, until joy chooses you. Have a wonderful week, and I can't wait to chat with you and connect with you. Bye for now.